The RBI has clamped down now on CDRs and they've tightened the CDR norms as well. Let's chat with Kumar, CMD at Stressed Assets Management, SBI. The provisioning requirements will have to go up for you guys by about 15% by 2016. How much will an impact this have on your restructured book, which now stands somewhere close to about 32,000 crore rupees?
Now, first of all, I have to tell you, in fact, some of the Mahapatra committee recommendations had been accepted, and RBI had issued a circular in January. At that time, they had told us that for the year 13-14, we would have to make a provision on restructured book at 3.75%, and for the year 14-15, we'd have to make it at 5%. But actually, if you see the current instructions which have come, I think it's a good positive, and there's some relief for the banks. Because for the year 13-14, from what was originally prescribed at 3.75, it has been brought down to 3.5. That's the first thing. And then for the year 14-15, it comes to 4.25. And for the year 15-16, it will be made 5%. So basically, we are getting one more year, plus also a 25 basis point relief during the current year on the standard assets restructuring book. We have our book size is now 32,000 crores. So this would mean additionally another 240 crores based on the current book size.
Right. Sandra, the Reserve Bank of India requires all restructured accounts to be classified as NPAs from 2015 onwards. What impact will that have on banks' balance sheets?
No, my understanding is that it is not the existing basket. Anything that you restructure from 1st April 2015, that will straight away be classified as an NPA. There is no question of that special dispensation which was earlier given, that if a account is restructured, it will not be treated as NPA. That dispensation will not be available. That is the only thing. So the existing basket will continue to fall under the same guidelines which are right now present.
Sandra, the promoter sacrifice has also been increased to about 20% from the earlier 15%, and the RBI says that this amount can be raised further if banks choose to do so. How will this impact the current pace of restructuring for you?
No, basically 20% is the promoter's contribution. In fact, here there is a clarification which RBI has issued. It used to be 20% of the fair value diminution or the sacrifice that the bank had made on the loan at the time of restructuring. Now what RBI has said is it is not just the fair value diminution. They have also said we have to add the mark-to-market loss on the portion of the debt which has been converted to equity. So the base itself becomes a little more, and then instead of 15% it becomes 20%. So I think it's good because the promoter's contribution will come, it will increase, and therefore his commitment to making the project a success and making it generate revenues will be more. So I think it's a good step. In fact, they have said it should be that or 2% of the total restructured debt, whichever is higher.
But Sandra, there are a few more stipulations like banks not being encouraged to convert debt into preferential shares and the instance of personal guarantee. Will this make it more difficult for corporates now to use the CDR route or CDR way?
See, I would tend to agree with the RBI in the sense that if the promoters want the restructuring to be done and if they have faith in their project and they are confident that it is going to generate revenues, they should stick their neck out, and therefore promoters guarantee. I think it's a good thing that the RBI has said. I don't think it is going to affect the restructuring numbers, because those promoters who are really serious about restructuring and then bringing the loan, the repayment of the loan and also seeing that the project goes through will definitely come irrespective of all this.
Right. Sandra, SBI has seen rather huge hike in its restructuring in the fourth quarter, and you're seeing nearly 25% of the restructured assets, turning sour, which is, double of what you saw in the past as well. How worrying is this for you guys?
See, I'll tell you what, this 25% is based on the current base which we have taken 43,000 crores. But what we have not taken into account is we should really be looking at the total basket of restructured, because from the accounts which have become NPA, that figure of 10,000 we have shown relates to earlier years also, which has now moved out of the basket itself. Therefore, you should take it calculated on the 58,000 crores, which is the total basket size. So it still remains at that 15-16%. But having said that, I would say that I don't think restructuring is not dependent on these factors. It is a question of the viability of the project and the promoter's commitment to the project, and SBI would continue to restructure because we don't want units closing down. If there is a hope for viability and hope for revival of the unit, we continue to do that.
With Mr. S.L. Bansal, Chairman and Managing Director of OBC, who joins us live from New Delhi. Mr. Bansal, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Bansal, do you think the new restructured guidelines are more like a short-term negative and a medium-term positive for the banking industry?
No, yeah, good morning. No, it's not short-term negative. Underlying spirit of regulator is that going forward, the restructuring should be responsible. And you will appreciate that for the first time, RBI has clearly spelled out each and every point very, very carefully. And in favor of bank, of course, somewhere he wants that more provision is to be provided. For example, from promoter point of view, now he has to bring in more money, he has to put on his guarantee. And from the banker's point of view, the bankers need to provide more money for the restructured assets. So overall, the restructuring exercise needs to be responsible. That's all.
Mr. Bansal, there have been some relaxations in the timeline as 5% provision on recast loans now needs to be made from 2016 instead of 2015. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, see, so on the one side, Reserve Bank of India has relaxed these norms, but on the other side, they have said it from 1st June onwards, any asset restructured straight away, you have to provide 5%. So all these things are revenue neutral or provision ultimately remains with the system. So bankers should not be unduly worried on all these provisionings. But more importantly, what they have stated is the promoter need to approach the bank only when then he is really very serious. 3-4 things. He needs to provide more money instead of 15%, 20% of the sacrifice he needs to provide. Number 2, the personal guarantee is must now. Number 3, the regulatory period during which the unit becomes viable have been reduced from 10 years to 8 years and 7 years to 5 years. So all these things are positive for the bankers, and going forward, it will be very, very tough. Now, one more important change has come. Earlier, the promoters were requesting for conversion of debt into equity. Now, there is also cap fixed on that. So all these things are positive for the bank because ultimately, going forward, it will not be easy for the banks to restructure the assets. And rightly so, if the asset is not going to perform, it is better to call a spade a spade.
Right, that's one side of the story, sir. But the other side of the story is that will this lead to a bump up in NPAs?
The point is when the economy is not doing well and the assets has to slip to NPA category, then let it slip. Now, how long you can keep on a dead body in the house?
Okay, so do you think for OBC now NPAs could go up because markets will get worried the minute they see bad assets going up? Because for if I look at the restructured book, it stands at about 10,000 crore.
See, our restructured book, what you are looking at, I don't look at it that way. Out of 10,000 crore, 9,800 crore, close to 5,000 crore is to the DISCOMs and the Air India. Air India is already restructured with a sovereign guarantee of the central government. And DISCOM will be restructured before 15th of July. It is in the advanced stage. So once this restructure is over, then my restructured book stands reduced to less than 4,000-5,000 crore, which is normal in an economy when the economy is not doing well. So I am not unduly worried on that.